Today's episode is brought to you by Freedom Project Academy. Looking for a K-12 classical online school built on Judeo-Christian values? FPA is enrolling now for the fall. Request your free information packet at freedomforschool.com. That's freedom, F-O-R, school.com.
It's time to get educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. This is the Dr. Duke Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Duke Show. No, don't go away. I'm David Fiorazzo, filling in for the good doctor, and I'm pleased to be joined by the great Katie Petrick. Before we get started, I just wanted to say that this show and all of our programming here at Freedom Project is made possible thanks to our Patriot Club donors. So if you enjoy our content, please consider a donation to financially support what we're doing here. We produce 18 videos a week to keep you informed, and it all costs money, of course, to produce. So please consider supporting us with a tax-deductible gift, and as a token of our appreciation, we'll send you our trademark American Patriot tumbler. Simply visit patriotclub.us to show your support. All right, today we start with a shocking assignment given to, ready, 4-year-olds that asks them to write down and draw places in their home where they can masturbate. Did I say this was 4-year-olds? Yes, this assignment was given to very young children. So what's going on here is this is Albert Bay, British Columbia school, and they were reportedly given this homework assignment on masturbation. The worksheet asks students to draw pictures of places in their home where they can touch themselves. Now, the worksheet is adopted from a book called Body Smart, Right from the Start. Oh, that sounds good. Nothing wrong with that, Body Smart, right from the start. It's advertised for 3 to 7-year-olds. And the book overview, it's by Carrie Isham, and it will guide parents through the foundations of body safety and keeping kids safe from sexual abuse. Always good intentions, right? But we often find that they're really pushing the envelope on this. Katie, I was almost embarrassed to talk about this, but you have to address it because 4-year-olds are hearing this and getting this in class.
Well, in the fact that the book itself is advertised, you said it, for 3 to 7-year-olds. Now, David, you remember once upon a time, just about a month ago, when there was this bill in obviously we're talking about British Columbia, so Canada, but here in the United States, there was this bill, and they called it, I think, the Parental Rights in Education, okay? And it was about 3 to 7-year-olds, and it was deemed the Don't Say Gay bill, and we got all this backlash for this bill that happened in Florida, and Governor Ron DeSantis, all he said was like, why are we trying to teach any of this information to 3 to 7-year-olds? But apparently they learned nothing from the Florida bill because they are putting this 3 to 7-year-olds into the classroom in British Columbia. So when we got told that that bill is just Don't Say Gay bill, and it's bashing LGBTQ, and how dare you do something like that? And our 3 to 7-year-olds need to know information. This book is providing the backbone of what the people who are against the bill are saying. And so what's fascinating in this is in the actual assignment sheet, you take a look at it in the fact that they're using chalkboard font, but I digress. They say some children like to touch their own private body parts and some children don't. What places in your home are private? And they at least provide 3 lines for you to write that. And, you know, for some of you at home, you 3 to 7-year-olds, especially the 4-year-olds where this classroom specifically was, you might not want to write words because you're 4 years old. And so maybe you just want to draw a picture. And so you can see there, you can draw a picture of the private places where you can touch your penis or vulva if you want to. What a delightful assignment.
What did you just say? No, seriously,
4-year-olds.
I'm glad that you said that. I was actually embarrassed. I saw it, and that's what's in this assignment. And I'm trying to remember, it's been a long time since I was in school, and I'm thinking, okay, if I was 4, let's just say if I was 12, would I be
16.
able to 16? Would I be able to
carry that
grasp
on.
and comprehend this kind of assignment at school?
Oh, yes, as a 4-year-old, especially you who were assigned female at birth. I'm not allowed to say females, but you assigned by the doctor. A vulva. As a 4-year-old, any clue? As an 8-year-old, probably still not 12, 16. Hey, 20, 24. At this point, we're going to just see. Don't worry. All the generations coming up now will know every little piece of their body parts. They can't read, so they're going to have to draw pictures, but at least we can know where they'd like to touch themselves and when.
Okay, Katie, one parent responded and said, we really can't blame the school for this situation because the school had no acknowledgement of this. How often do you hear that? By the way, let me just say what she said before this. I just want to say publicly that the school had no idea this teacher was doing this program. It was supposed to be just the good touch, bad touch program, which is what I agreed upon at the beginning of the year. But you open up something like this and you can easily see how runaway teachers, radical teachers will take it to the extreme, and it's all about hypersexualization. So how would you respond? Because we hear this in America a lot, and parents saying, well, the school had no idea. Well, this is just one, Lone Ranger teacher. How do you respond to that?
I've read so many of these responses by the school district. Now, in this instance, it's a parent. And the parent responses that are anonymous are pretty much the same as the school responses. Like, I could come up with exactly what a parent would say. And some of you may make the comment in our comments right now saying, well, if that happened in my school, I would get my kids out of there.
Right.
That would never happen in my school.
No.
It only happens X, Y, Z. And we're at the point where it's happening in every school. Because at this point, all the teachers being educated in the education programs are being taught the exact same thing, which is to indoctrinate your children. So then they go off and become teachers in the schools, and they're just parroting exactly whatever these way activist radical books are putting out, because teachers don't teach now. They don't want the teachers to teach. They want the teachers to just parrot whatever they're putting out there, which is this nonsense.
With all the censorship taking place on social media platforms, we've made it easy to keep up with your favorite content. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app in your app store. Get access to 18 new videos a week, plus thousands of archived shows, lecture series, and educational animations. Download the Freedom Project Media app on your Apple TV, Roku, tablet, or phone, and make sure you allow for notifications to keep you informed.
Well, let's get back here to the United States. So we're going to come a little south, a little east, and go to Montana, where I guess out there in the plains of Montana, you can't escape all of this nonsense. Insanity has been found there, and we have parents who contacted NBC Montana out of Missoula to investigate a questionnaire that was handed out to freshmen in a health class at Sentinel High School. Now, a Sentinel High School parent had said that her freshman felt uncomfortable about the contents of the questionnaire. And it included, obviously, questions regarding student sexual orientation, because all questionnaires really should and must include that. And so there are 15 questions total on the handout, but we'll listen to NBC Montana first explain.
According to a parent with a student at Sentinel High School, their freshman came home feeling uncomfortable regarding this questionnaire that was handed out at the end of their health class. Now, it poses questions regarding students' thoughts and feelings towards heterosexuality and asks questions such as this. 99% of reported rapists are heterosexual. Why are straights so sexually aggressive? The majority of child molesters are heterosexuals. Do you consider it safe to expose children to heterosexual teachers, scout leaders, and coaches? And when did you choose your sexual orientation?
When did you? David, when did you choose your sexuality?
Oh, when did I assign myself an orientation?
Well,
Gosh.
my personal was I was assigned to be, or I chose to be straight when the doctor said you are female. When I was assigned to be that as well, because we're just assigning now. It's not nature, what God gave us. It's just being assigned. Just like these kids were assigned this questionnaire, apparently. let's put up the graphic again just to take a look at some of the other questions that we have up there. The first thing these kids were given, they were handed this sheet and then told to just basically bugger off because it was at the end of class. And according to the parent of that freshman who felt uncomfortable, no explanation was given. They were just given the sheet and said, go on your merry way. And so you take a look at the very first question. Define heterosexuality. Okay, so now the kid is supposed to just be like, well, is it being straight or, opposite sexes are attracted to one another, but we don't even know what a woman is, so how can they even define it? Because there's 97,000 genders, so okay. Number 2, how can you tell if someone is heterosexual? Straight. See, now we're introducing the straight term because that's going to be the evil word. What causes heterosexuality? That one I just... High school freshman, what causes heterosexuality? What causes it? Being assigned, I'm guessing. Being assigned to be heterosexual.
Causes being born. Okay.
None of it makes any sense whatsoever, but that's what they're doing to all these children.
There's one on there, 14. How easy would it be for you if you wanted to change your sexual orientation starting right now? And then number 15 is really interesting because I think it says, what have been your reactions? So they're trying to find out what kids maybe come from Christian homes or conservative homes that think the kind of questionnaire is wrong. What have been your reactions to answering these questions? What feelings have you experienced and why?
Well, what's fascinating, so take a look at the very beginning. Okay, define heterosexuality. It's kind of like a biology class, like defined genome or define chromosome or define. And by the end, they've got your wheels turning after they give these statistics of the 99% of rapists being heterosexual and all that pedophilia and the majority of child molesters they say are heterosexual. So by the end of this, then they're starting to twist what your beliefs are. They're twisting it to, well, like you said, number 14, how easy would it be to change? Oh, maybe you should change your sexual orientation is what they're saying. And by maybe they should, they mean you should change your sexual orientation. And then by the 15 of the feelings, all about the feelings.
Right. Are you offended by any of this?
Yeah, so they're twisting it so a 14-year-old already raging with hormones and not knowing what's going on half the time is going to go through that questionnaire questioning themselves at the end.
So there's also, I think, a hidden agenda in here. I'm not sure about those statistics myself from some of the research that I've uncovered, but do you consider it safe to expose children to heterosexual teachers, scout leaders, and coaches? Apparently, gay men have very little, if any, record at all of having sex with underage children. It says the majority of child molesters are heterosexuals. I don't. That's a pretty blanket statement. I don't know the accuracy of that. I would really question that. Do you?
And well, that's the point. They don't care about accuracy. They don't care about facts.
That's true.
They are trying to do what exactly happened. So that anonymous parent who had the freshman in the class said that her student asked if they are a bad person because they are straight. More disturbing, obviously, is the questionnaire being handed out at the end of the class with no context whatsoever. And even the parent said she waited to report this to the school until maybe the next day. The teacher would, hey, by the way, that questionnaire I handed out, let's talk about it. Nope. They're just trying to push it there. Now, of course, here's the district's response saying that the questionnaire was not part of the approved curriculum.
They had no idea.
Oh, I didn't know. And they're saying that remedial actions have been taken to keep it from happening again. I'm putting on my school response voice.
Oh, that's right.
La, la,
that's
la, la.
right.
Okay. MCPS was recently made aware of a handout that was given to students in a high school health class. The handout was intended as a demonstration exercise to show how certain questions can be seen as offensive. Students were not expected to provide written answers. The questions on the handout were intended for discussion purposes only and are not part of our approved curriculum. When the handout was brought to the district's attention, there was an immediate investigation and the handout was removed. MCPS has a challenged materials procedure that anyone can access. Generally, the challenged materials procedure is used when there is a challenge of curriculum material used in our classrooms. However, the handout in this particular incident was not part of the curriculum and should not have been used, as it is not part of our approved instructional materials for this unit. The district has taken appropriate remedial action to prevent this from happening again.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on all items at MyPillow.com when you use the code Dr. Duke. That's DRDUKE. Support this show by supporting a great American company.
We have more questions and they continue to be bad. And this time we're going to Missouri for some of you, where an alarm has been sounded about a question in a class activity, and it was actually on an advanced placement government class online exercise at Holt High School in Wentzville. Now, I thought we had to get rid of all the advanced placement classes, because everyone must be at the same level, which means not advanced at all. But we still at least have an advanced placement government class, and they had a question on an activity, and so here's the question. Teresa has heard in the news about the fatal shootings of unarmed African American men by police officers, but does not think it is necessarily due to racism. Teresa is most likely a...
Really? Democrat, black woman, Republican, Democrat-leaning Republican, or Democrat-leaning woman.
I wonder why that would spark any outrage at all from anybody. Anybody? But of course it did, because you had to answer Republican in that instance to get the question correct. And so one parent, well, actually it was several parents, but they just could not understand why. Let's take a look.
It felt like the question was written by somebody that just hates Republicans. Kids shouldn't be treated in such a way that it's going to cause them to hate each other. And this wasn't really an opportunity for anybody to learn anything, and that's really why they're there in the first place.
Terrible question. I don't think it should be on any test, especially for high schoolers or anywhere their mind is fresh and still learning.
It was inappropriate, and it's racial, and the question really just didn't make any sense.
Whether it was an attack on police, whether it was an attack on Republicans, making police and Republicans look bad, that's something that has no place in our public schools. It shouldn't have any place in schools altogether.
Now, this is just a classic example of what we have going on across the country, but it was quite fascinating from the news. They got a response from a parent, a community member, a student, and then a representative for state government. And all of them are like, why? Why is this being put in? And they make perfect sense, because there's absolutely no reason that that kind of a question would serve any purpose other than to promote a certain narrative, which has nothing to do with the education.
Oh, absolutely. And that first parent said it right. The question was written by somebody that just hates Republicans. It's just, I don't know. I guess they've done it so subtly for decades. Now they can just come right out and put the question out there, and that you can clearly, in case you missed any of their subtle indoctrination and then their division on hate and race and everything else, now they're just going to put it plainly, oh, that person is probably a Republican. So it's par for the course, and I know you guys talk about that all the time here on the Dr. Duke Show.
And I'm not going to read this time the entire long district response, but let's just know that the district pretty much responded in the same jibber jabber that they always do. But they did say that the question wasn't part of a graded test, but just part of online resources. The district spokesperson had said that the question was part of a randomized set of questions. What's fascinating to me, though, is the College Board actually responded to that. And if you know anything about the Dr. Duke Show, you know that the College Board is no friend of this place, because one David Coleman is the head of the College Board, who is, Common Core, anyone? We've been talking about it for a decade here. So he actually, or at least the College Board itself, came out and responded saying that the AP program didn't even provide the question. It doesn't reflect the AP course framework or the kind of content that students encounter on the AP exam, and that AP students are expected to analyze perspectives different from their own, and they're not assessed on adherence to any ideology or viewpoint. So in that regard, David Coleman's College Board did one thing correct, by saying that. But still, why was it in the classroom to begin with?
All right, before we go, let's take a little time to fill you in on a few stories we've been following. Let's start at our nation's capital, where for the first time in a half a century, Congress will be saying, "E.T. phone home." That's right. This week, the House Intelligence Committee's Subcommittee on Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation will be talking little green men. The hearings follow the release of a report last June from the Director of National Intelligence detailing 144 cases of UFOs observed and reported by military aircraft from 2004 to 2021. While some incidents could be the result of sensor errors or spoofing, the report states that they were likely multiple types of unidentified aerial phenomena that require deeper explanations. So speaking of space-age technology, some restaurants here on Earth are going high-tech and cutting out the middleman when it comes to serving customers. Due to the labor shortage around the country, one restaurant in our neck of the woods, Green Bay, Wisconsin, is showcasing their newest employee named Servy. Now, the restaurant called Mangieri, I think I said that right, maybe not, has purchased the robot which delivers dishes to paying customers and collects dirty plates to bring back to the kitchen. Now, the restaurant says while it would much rather hire real people, it is becoming very hard to find anyone willing to work. Now, that's true. I've seen more help wanted signs and now hiring than I've ever in my life seen in the last year. Servy is the creation of Bear Robotics, which has produced more than 5,000 robots serving in restaurants around the country, apparently. Katie? We've seen fast food restaurants testing out robot burger flippers, and now we have robot waiters. I know you have some thoughts on this.
I mean, I guess we're getting that much closer to the Jetsons, but between like the UFOs coming down, ET phoning home, and then these robots, like we are living in a sci-fi world. That's all I gotta say.
AI. Yeah, we've seen these things in the 70s in sci-fi programs. But let's wrap things up with a huge story out of Brazil, where the world's tallest statue of Christ has just been completed. Take a look at this.
Tourists flock to see Christ the Redeemer tower over Copacabana and Ipanema beaches in Brazil. Now a small town in southern Brazil wants some of those tourism dollars for itself. Encantado, Brazil, with a population of less than 23,000 people, has built Christ the Protector in order to attract some of Rio's blessings, tourists. Including the base, the Protector is 141 feet tall, making it 16 feet taller than the Redeemer. The organization that began building the statue in 2019 says that makes Christ the Protector the largest Christ in the world. Just like its predecessor, this Christ stands with arms extended, but when visitors are welcome to Christ the Protector in 2023, they'll be able to look out over Encantado through Jesus' heart-shaped window.
Pretty amazing. So the statue is called Christ the Protector, and as the video stated, it stands 140 feet tall, 40 feet taller than the world-famous Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro. Now, the new statue was the brainchild of the late mayor who died of COVID last March. The statue is expected to open for tourists next year. So, Katie, it's not every day you see a 140-foot tall statue of Christ in a country that's not ashamed to put it up.
That's true. Though the only thing that I heard though in the news report is they're trying to bring in the tourism dollars. So I just hope all those dollars that they get from putting Christ up is maybe donated to those who could need it more than just the town itself. Maybe the people within the town or yeah. But either way, 140-foot statue is wow. And that is going to do it for this show. For all of us here at Freedom Project, please make sure to stay educated, my friends.